Already looked at transformations in general, and today we're going to be looking at transformations, one specific transformation. We're going to be looking at rotations. And so a rotation, as we spoke about, it was a turn, but let's get precise. We can rotate a point A, here's our point A, in the plane by an angle of theta. Remember, this symbol here means theta around point B, which is going to be the center of rotation. So what we're going to do is we're going to rotate this point A around this point B by a certain angle. That's all we're doing. And we define the notation in this way, okay? Rotation around point B by an angle, and we're rotating the point A to produce A prime. Okay, remember, we have the inputs and we have the outputs. So that is all that it is. For this, you're going to need your compass, straight edge, and protractor. Okay, so here we are. We're going to rotate line segment AB. Okay, it has a length of 2 inches, and we're going to produce A prime, B prime after a counterclockwise rotation of 60 degrees about point O. Notice here that we have all three requirements. We have a direction, we have an angle of rotation, and we have a center. So since we have all those three things, we can definitely rotate. So the first step here to rotate is to place the needle on the center of rotation. Notice my needle is there. That's the center, O. And the pencil on a pre-image point. So B is one of the pre-images. There it is. Now the second thing that I want to do is I want to draw a segment from the pre-image to the center of rotation. Okay? And for that, I would use my straight edge here, my ruler. But because I'm doing this in the computer, I'm just going to make it easier for myself and draw it using this line segment tool that is available. But for you guys, make sure you use a ruler, okay? So now that I'm going to make my line segment, there it is. There is my line segment, okay? Now I'm going to rotate point B. What's the third step here? Now make an arc in the direction specified, counterclockwise or clockwise, or counterclockwise. Well, in this, we spoke about counterclockwise. Notice that? So I'm going to make sure that I go counterclockwise. Now, be mindful. Going down is in the direction of the clock. Notice, this is the direction of the clock. So that is clockwise. The direction says counterclockwise. So I want to go to the left. Okay, I want to go to the left. And I'm going to try and estimate 60 degrees. So from here, this is 0. And I want to try and estimate 60. I think 60, say somewhere there, 60 degrees. Okay. Now let's measure the arc. Let's actually measure it to find out if it's 60 degrees. Okay. So where is 60 degrees exactly? Now you're going to take your protractor and do like so. Place this, you're going to have a hole on yours, and so place the hole right on the center. Line it up so that 0 is right there. See, you see 0 right here, and there's also 0 right here. Now, I'm going to see where 60 degrees is. Okay, let's find 60 degrees. Okay, well, if I do this, 60 degrees is right about here. Okay, there is 60 degrees. So I'm counting 0, 10, 20, 30, and to 60. If I'm on this side, I'm going to use the top numbers. But since I'm on this side, I'm going to use the bottom numbers. Got it? 60 degrees. Great. So now take your ruler and let's try and find where 60 degrees is exactly. So right here is where 60 degrees is. And now I'm going to make my pen. I'm going to use my pencil and make a small mark right here. Remove my compass, my protractor, and now I can use the ruler to make my segment. Okay, so there is 60 degrees right there. That's what I want to mark. I don't want to go up here because I want to intersect the arc at 60 degrees. Okay, so there is your 60. And now guess what? I'm going to label this point right here as B prime. This is my point B prime. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing to find A prime. Okay, now notice I don't really need to draw this segment here, but it is special and important for one reason. I was supposed to rotate B around O to produce B prime. Now notice that I counterclockwise. Here is the rotation counterclockwise. How do I know that it is actually 60 degrees? Well, this angle, the vertex of this angle is 60 degrees. Right here is, this measures 60 degrees. Okay, so if you want to find how many degrees you've rotated, well, simply connect your pre-image and your image to the center of rotation and measure that angle. And that angle, I guarantee you, will be your center of rotation. Notice it's connected to the center. Now let's try this one more time for point A to produce point A prime. You should make these marks really light so that you don't get confused. It may be easy to get confused here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to delete these marks and leave B prime where it is. And now, guess what would happen if I measured angle A prime OA? How much do you believe is angle AOA prime? How much does this angle measure right here? Well, yes, of course, it has to measure 60 degrees. We just measured it. Okay, now the last step here. We've done our rotation. We're done with that. So let's actually draw this segment. I'm going to take this out just for a point of reference. Remember, for you, make sure that you do this very lightly so that your final result would be the darker line that you see. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do now. Connect A prime to B prime. And there it is, okay? So, I have a rotation. The question is, are these two segments the same size? Are they congruent? Are they actually congruent? Well, that's something that we have to check. So, these two segments should be the same because all we did to them was turn them. So if I take my ruler out here and I measure segment AB, this measures 9 centimeters. Of course, here it says 2 inches, so it should measure 2 inches. But because I'm using this ruler here, I can make it big or small. So for you, it would measure 2 inches. But here it's measuring 9 centimeters. Okay, so what does that tell us about segment A prime, B prime? Well, let's see, what does that tell us? Take segment A prime, B prime, and let's measure it. And let's see if we get close. Ha! Exactly, right there. It's exactly the same side. Did the rotation preserve the length of the segment? Of course it did, because a rotation is a rigid motion that preserves angle measure and side lengths, right? Rotation does not change any length. So, therefore, these two segments are congruent. You say congruent. They are equal, okay? Rotation is just a turn. So let's actually go to your CFU, okay? And let's see. This is a rigid motion. Well, I've done the hard work for you, where here's the rotation. You have angle A, B, C, and angle A prime, B prime, C prime. Now I've given you that the measure of angle B is 28 degrees. Now using your protractor, find the angle of rotation about D. So I want you to find the angle of rotation. I did not give that to you. Recall, how did we find the angle of rotation in our last example? Notice what two segments we had to connect. Now, you're going to find the measure of angle A prime, B prime, C prime, and tell me, did it preserve angle measures? Okay? That's your CFU for tomorrow in class.